Here's my test setup. Got a motor weighted with a hinge, and I've run this. This is a pulley, and I have a, I don't know, a 1 inch to 3/4 inch galvanized adapter welded in there, and that's welded to a center piece of an old clutch disc, and it works. So just a hair wobbly, but not bad. So I spun it up with the pressure gauge on here, and I get 350 psi, which is low for this transmission. It's supposed to be, I think, 420 or maybe even 450. So I already have a spring shim under here, and so it's not enough. I ordered a new spring for $50 delivered, and I'm going to swap that out and see if the pressure comes up. And a testament to how good this gray, ultra gray Permatex gasket maker is. I have all the bolts loose, and even with that hefty spring in there, it's not pushing this apart. This is my homemade piston ring compressor for the accumulator piston with the metal rings that came out when I was replacing the spring. So I have it all installed now. I just have to fill this up with some more fluid, and hopefully I get the correct pressure with the new spring in now. Well, now I overfixed it. So I put in the new spring and I ran it, and it went up to 600 psi without much delay. Might have gone higher. So I shut it off, and it's gradually working its way down. It's down to 400 now. But I think the spec is 450 psi, so 600 seems quite a bit high. Now I'm not sure what to do. So I put the old spring back in, and my pressure went back to my old reading of 350 psi. I emailed Moss to find out what they intended with the spring they sold me. 600 seems a little too high, but of course I didn't hear back. So I'm going to add a shim to keep this moving, and the shim that was in there was 0.02, and to get another 100 psi at 500 pounds per inch on the spring, I need 0.2 inches, and so these 3 washers give me 0.22, which is the extra 100 I need, extra 100 psi I need with 0.2 inches, and then I'm replacing that guy with the last 0.025, and hopefully that's going to get me to around 450. Alright, so hopefully this is going to be close. I'm going to fire up the old tester here. Okay, so that was 480, a little higher than I'd like. So I think maybe I'll take out a little bit of a washer and then seal it up. That should be good enough. Taking this apart so many times now, trying to get it right. I think I can get it in the last one. You can see how slowly that bleeds down. I think that's good. It means my seals are good. Well, I wasn't going to check it after the last adjustment, but I changed my mind, so here goes. Well, this isn't what I wanted to be doing, but the pressure wasn't falling when I moved the lever, and so I took out the operating valve over here, and it was plugged, and I had cleaned it out previously. And I looked at the fluid, and there were some black specks in it, which I think flakes really, that probably came off the sliding clutch because I wasn't sure how to clean that. So now I'm draining all the fluid, and I think I'm going to filter it and put it back so I don't have to buy more. But I'm afraid if I don't do this, it's going to clog again, which would be really bad if it's stuck in overdrive when you shift it into a lower gear, or even worse, reverse. So I better do it. There's also the chance that some of the passageways in the drive shaft that I cleaned out could also clog. So going backwards again. I'm going to change the spring shim one more time because I'm still too high in pressure. Every time I take these two bolts out that push the plate in against the spring, I can see junk around the threads because it's, the pressure of the spring is pushing the bolt threads against the threads in the casing, and with a lot of force. And so as you turn it out, it creates a little bit of metal sludge. I'm going to try holding the plate in with a clamp across here just to keep that force down, and then when I release the clamp, it'll just snap out. Not sure if it's going to work, but trying to save those threads since I've taken the bolts out so many times. Didn't work that well because it twists and then it hangs up on the studs here. I suppose if you took the studs out, it would work, but you can see here this trail of some of the metal washing down with the oil, and here are the bolts. So if I take my finger and rub it on there, you can see some of that metalish stuff come off. Call that success. 455, 460. I cleaned this up in preparation for hopefully the final gasketing operation. I took the studs out so that I could clean it really well. And then I was starting to clean this, and I realized that there was a stripped cover bolt hole here. So I'm in the process of putting in helicoil in, trying to catch the garbage with a little plastic cover that I cut to fit in there nice and tight. And even this one here has a helicoil in it, I noticed. So not the best, but I think it'll work. Overall, that went very well. I cut all the shrapnel here and vacuumed it out. And you have to break off a tang on the easy out, or the helicoil, which was scary. But I did it, and it landed right in the tray, and I took it out with a magnet. And then I just measured on the bolt, put a mark down there, how far it protrudes through the top cover to make sure it goes in far enough here, and it does. The trouble is the oversized hole for the helicoil almost hits the back casting in here. There's not a lot of clearance left, and so the bolt gets tight down there. But I did check that it will go in far enough, so I think I'm good.